So welcome to the Future of Denim Trade Shows Roundtable discussion. My name is Tricia Carey, and I'm Director of Global Business Development at Lensing, the makers of 10 South. As an exhibitor at all of the trade shows represented on this panel, I am delighted to host this discussion with executives representing all the global denim shows: Blue Zone, Denim Expo, Denim PV, Kingpins, Tex World, and Intertextile. From art to aviation, franchising to photography, and wellness to weddings, the event and trade show industry has been severely affected by this pandemic. With almost 1,700 global trade shows, large and small, fashion and apparel has been affected similarly. With shows taking place in New York, Amsterdam, London, Milan, Munich, Paris, Dhaka, Guangzhou, Hong Kong, Shanghai, denim alone takes up a total of 51 calendar days, or 2.5 months of working days just for trade shows. Within the industry, the buzzword of the past few weeks has been virtual trade show. The relocation of showrooms and exhibitor appearances, employing live streams to the screens of all those who are interested in the exhibits and product developments. But the question arises as to whether people, as social beings, can be satisfied exclusively with digital experiences without real-life interaction. Following our pandemic pause, are we looking at an industry reset, including trade shows, travel obstacles, budget reductions, staff cuts? What does this mean for the global denim trade shows? Joining us today is an esteemed panel of trade show owners and organizers. We have Andrew Ola from Kingpins. We have Guillermo Alero from Premier Vision. We have Mustavis Udin from Denim Expo. We have Olaf Schmidt from Messe Frankfurt, which organizes Tex World and Intertextile. And we have Sebastian Klinder from Munich Fabric Start Blue Zone. To get started our discussion today, I'd like to start off by asking, in pre-pandemic, it appeared that there was a robust attendance at our trade shows. Why do you think that was? And do buyers and exhibitors really need that many shows? Post-COVID, are we looking at a tipping point? And we'll kick this off with Andrew. What do you think?
Well, thank you, Tricia. Thanks for organizing this. I think it's great that you've done this, and I'm happy that we could all be together. I think that shows the most important part of shows, of course, besides demand, is the location and the timing. So I think that's one thing that's really important for us and how we regard it. And whether we reached a tipping point or not, I mean, I think we have for sure. And I think that it's going to be a very difficult time going in the future because of the current situation and the leftover situation from this.
Yes. And Guillermo, what are your thoughts?
First of all, thank you, Tricia, for the opportunity to be with you and to exchange and share the ideas. I think that we were on a robust growth because shows were also following the uninterrupted growth of consumption that we had in the past 10 years after the 2008 crisis. For sure, what we do experience today is that the world is changing, the consumption is changing, and probably also the trade show are about to change.
Yes, definitely. I think change is a part of all that we're seeing right now. And moving over to Dhaka, to you, Mustavis.
Hi, Tricia. Hi, Andrew, Olaf, Guillermo, and Sebastian. I'm very happy to see all of you, and it gives me a lot of inspiration. I will think that I think the most important part is we can all discuss and find a way how can we move forward, and then we can do something together. I think this will be my thinking.
Yes, for sure. Collaboration is important. And Olaf, what do you feel?
Yeah, first also thank you very much to be with you here in this panel discussion. So, you know, we as Messe Frankfurt, we organize more than 55 trade shows internationally, completely textile value chain. And especially now in this situation, I have no doubt that after the crisis, there is a high request to have physical trade shows again, perhaps more than before, because people would like to meet each other, and it's really important for them to have these platforms again. And we see this before this crisis. Exactly, the meeting platform is very important for people, and this is our expectation.
Yes, it is something that we all miss, is the chance to get together, especially in our textile industry. Sebastian, what are your thoughts from Munich?
Thoughts from Munich. I think the question of how many trade shows the industry really needs is ongoing since years and years. Yeah. For me, I'm questioning myself if really 3 major denim shows must be happening within a time slot of 3 months and a distance of probably not more than 600 miles, something like this. So this is crazy in a way. But I think trade show still is one of the most important business and marketing tools, which is driven by the industry, and it's learned. And I think it's also a beloved one from everyone. So I'm, as a trade show organizer, I'm missing the fact that shows cannot happen. Yeah. So I'm sad about it. I'm happy to work with my team all the days for the trade shows which are happening. I'm super happy to support the industry by running a trade show. So let me say, trade shows will change, and I think the way people are traveling will change. But the fact that we need physical trade shows happening is no doubt for me.
Right. Yes, we do need that physical time. And so last week I heard that the mayor of Amsterdam might not allow foreigners in for the entire year of 2020. And I know in Germany, several months ago, the government had stated that there'd be no large gatherings through the end of August. Will cities allow foreigners to visit? I mean, coming from New York City, do they really want a New Yorker to be in their town? And what are the determining factors to running a trade show? Because it's much more than just, if it's the regulations of the government. Olaf, what are your determining factors of having the next trade show?
Yeah, I think, Tricia, first of all, it's important to know more about international visitors and the requirements for flight operation and the allowance to travel to any place in the world. I think this is very essential at the first step, because physically it's possible to organize a show, also based on the regulations, but the visitors and of course also the exhibitors have to come. So it's easier, for example, to organize a local event with local visitors and buyers than internationally. And we here in Germany, we see a change of regulations, especially on the trade fair business. The decision maker said, okay, now it's different to have an exhibition or a music festival or a sport event, and this will also change now how we can go forward with the trade shows in the future. My expectation is that we can start in September again.
Yes, and Sebastian, being also in Germany, what are your thoughts?
So first of all, this week the Bavarian government announced that trade fairs are allowed to take place again from the beginning of September, which is a powerful and positive news for us. But together with the other positive news and developments in Europe, the opening of the borders, we see a chance that the trade shows can start smoothly in September. Yes, but I think there are other topics. For example, the mayor of Amsterdam or Rome or whatever, they have in mind to change the way the tourism is dealing the entire state. So I think all these mass gatherings, they are exploiting the cities. That just too many people are around. This has nothing to do with a trade show. Yeah, I think a trade show can be organized in a way without any doubt, if we are opening shopping malls and other things. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure. For opening up other large venues, then trade shows should be able to follow. And Guillermo, for you?
I'm pretty optimistic that in the coming months we can run our show. It's true that we are facing nowadays major difficulties that we didn't experience before, because as Olaf mentioned, there are people not allowed to travel. There are cities that are taking a decision. I think that we were really in a positive growth because we were following 10 years of fantastic growth, economically speaking, after the crisis of 2008. What was till February 2020 would not be the same after. For sure, the our industry, as many others, is going to change. And we have to talk about our major changes for our industry. Yeah.
Great. And Mustavis in Dhaka?
I think, first of all, I think the decision of the mayor in Amsterdam is completely ridiculous. I don't believe with this, because when a lot of travelers are coming and if things are happening, as Sebastian also said, that shopping malls are open, what to do with the trade show? They have to understand that it's an economic point of view and it's essential for going to the business. So in Dhaka, we will have not problem. We are waiting to welcome all of you in November. We are ready, and we are getting better and better. So for us, it's not a problem at all. And at the same time, I expect that all our friends in PV, Kingspin, Munich, Texworld, Intertextile, everybody come up and we are starting to doing business again, because without the trade show, I think this is impossible for me as a manufacturer or as a visitor or as a buyer in both point of view. Yeah, that's all.
Yes, we need a momentum to start to get going. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Andrew, do you think you can convince the mayor of Amsterdam otherwise? What are your thoughts?
They haven't made a decision. There's no decision made. But I just think in terms of let's think about our New York show. So will we have a New York show? Will people travel from different states? Will they come to New York? Do they want to come to New York? I mean, you can basically intellectually say we're going to have a show, but it doesn't mean that people want to go to the show. So do people want to go to Amsterdam, or will Amsterdam let foreigners arrive? Will there be quarantines? Is there going to be a second wave? We don't know any of those things. And we hope that it's not going to be that. But are you going to go to the Amsterdam show, Tricia, if there was one?
Yes, I will. But I would still like to go to all the shows. I'm getting very itchy being here. To me, the biggest obstacle is actually getting on the airplane. That's probably, for me, sitting on the airplanes then to go overseas is my biggest concern. And, I think in New York, as you say, what will happen with the show, because many of the businesses in New York do not plan to have their offices open through the summer.
Exactly.
And so it's, how do people feel about interacting with each other? And like you said, Andrew, will there be additional quarantines? Will there be more outbreaks over the summer? But I have less fear about going into a trade show, but it's more the logistics of getting there, because we know airport travel is all going to change.
I want to add to that, because someone I know at American Express, they've closed their offices until 2021. So if American Express doesn't want to go to their own office, why would anyone want to go to a trade show?
Right. And same with I think it's Amazon, or not Amazon, it might have been Google who said that people can, their workers can stay out for the rest of the year.
Exactly.
And so it all feeds on that. But and as Olaf said, some of it becomes also very regional, very local then. And I think even if it's at that level, for trade shows to start to come back, it's important.
Yep.
I think we have a better picture in September. Now we have to wait for some additional months, and I think September internally, I think it's really good to know how will be the direction in Europe, but also in the United States internationally. But at the moment, it's you also don't get any clear information from different governments. Also within Germany, we have also different states, and also the announcements in different states are not on one level. And this is exactly the same like Europe. In Paris, it's not possible to go to a shop. In Germany, it's already possible when you go to Munich, as mentioned by Sebastian, or in Frankfurt in the city, you think everything is normal. Yeah? It's unbelievable. So at the moment, it's not really possible to give a realistic picture for the next month.
Like Ola also introduced, things are changing so quickly, and we cannot foresee what is happening in 2 weeks or in 2 months.
Exactly.
This is the biggest problem for all of us. Trade shows have to be organized so precisely, and we need this time, but we need a starting point, like everyone, for a project, which means we have to think positive, and this is what me and my team is doing right now, to say, okay, let's try to make it happen and try to create a show under these new circumstances. Definitely. This show will be different. Yeah. But I think also, like Tricia said, we need, might be more regional, might be smaller, doesn't matter, but we need a restart. Yeah. And this cannot be done, in my eyes, only in a virtual and digital way.
I totally agree. I think that this is totally complementary, but by our essence, by our nature, as a trade show organizer, we have to be positive and optimistic. We are bringing people together, so we are working with human beings, and that's our essence, I would say. And I do agree that we all need a starting point. Is the 1st of September is what we are all wishing this day. But let me say then, when you look worldwide, there are also, for our show, as a show organizer, there are not definitive rules yet defined. Every country is deciding if an aerial corridor will be larger than before. Every cities, every land. It's. I would say that I do understand that every single country had more serious thing to do before, because we are talking about human life before, but nobody take care about our industry seriously.
So we, for example, from the health concept, we decide not our shows to have one-way floors. Yeah, when you have 3 meters, for example, for larger one, you it's possible to have in both direction. So from the administration point, from the concept, it's possible to organize a show. I think no doubt about that. It's mainly now how visitors are able to move to a physical show. That's the point at the moment.
That's interesting to hear about the one-way aisles. That will be interesting too. Mm-hmm. And I think, you've touched on a little bit, but the way that we've all had to shift to now working digitally, and I think, there's some good parts of it too, which is how we can have this conversation around the world and to connect here, a new dialogue that perhaps we wouldn't have had without this pandemic. But what is your take then on digital? And will you have to incorporate some digital with your physical shows? Because, it's for some exhibitors, they're not as savvy to really put together editing themselves. How do you feel about that, Guillermo?
As I mentioned before, we do. I think we all agree that digital is essential. A trade show must be accompanied also by a digital support. A digital support then can accelerate the contact, that can accelerate the business. And this is what we think in Premier Vision. But it has not to be exclusive. I mean, digital has not to make us to forget that we are running a physical show. We took the decision 2 years ago to launch a marketplace. We took the decision to invest, even in tough times, to add some additional features to our tools, because we think that these new tools, trying to create matchmaking, appointments, sharing contents, will be useful not only during the show, but to accompany this platform that brings together people for 12 months and not just 6 days a year.
That community building to continue the show is very important. And Olaf, I know for the Text World show coming up in July, that's moving to having a digital platform. Where do you see the balance of digital and physical?
Yeah, personally, I think the virtual facilities can complement global communication and trade shows, but not more. I think that's really important. Also, before the crisis, we had discussion how a digital solution can support a trade show. This makes sense because first we have this trade show and we offer a digital solution for our community, for exhibitors and visitors. But at the end, personal meetings are really important for this kind of business, especially when we talk about fabrics and materials and fashion industry. You need to have a connection to the people. You have to see the fabric. So definitely trade shows. We need trade shows to support the industry. And it's more a question for me that you have an additional digital tools for our customers, but not more. Especially in the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, we saw so many digital solutions for the industry. And open speaking, I saw also a lot of horrible solutions. And at the end, many people in the industry said, okay, now we see how important we need a physical trade show to meet each other and to have business.
Yes, it is true to have the chance to be together. And Andrew, what's your thoughts on this? I mean, you already had a digital show back in April for Amsterdam Kingpins.
I agree with the other two comments. It's a complementary tool that we can use for our communities. And I think we haven't been using them in the past as well. And I think that going forward, they'll be more and more important as a tool. And as far as the exhibitors that don't really know that reality so well, I would compare it to the product development side. 5 or 10 years ago, certain mills were not able to do their product development the way they are today. And they hired designers and then eventually hired professionals, independent professionals to help them. So I'm not really afraid of what their presentations will look like in a couple of years. I think it's great opportunities for the design community to help them. And I think that, marketing's marketing. So whether it's digital or whether it's physical, but our physical trade show is never going away. We're a tactile industry and we're a subjective industry. Thank God. So it's never going to change, I think, but we can do more than we're doing.
Right. I think, it's interesting because it kind of caught everybody by surprise, and it was how prepared are you to shift? So I think that was something that your team quickly moved into. Mustavis, for you, how do you feel about the digital side? Will you start to bring in more digital to your Denim Expo?
Actually, I agree with all my I think that digital tools can be an extra point, can be added value, as Andrew said, but it can be an substitute. It can be an alternate of the physical trade shows. Physical trade show is a physical trade show, and it cannot be compared. We can add a lot of matchmaking and other additional tools on digitally, but I think there is no other alternate over there. So I'm not thinking anything personally to do it in digitally and all this way. And especially like us in Bangladesh, and we really love to have face-to-face and all these things.
Yes, yeah. And Sebastian, for you at Munich Fabric Start and Blue Zone, you had already been doing a lot to build a digital platform and community with your Munich magazine and your blog. How do you see this integration of digital and physical?
I think there are a lot of platforms establishing right now, and I see the COVID-19 pandemic might be working like a catalyzer for all these platforms. So I see a great chance for also the PV marketplace, for example. But it can also, what everyone said, it's just an additional, there's no tool right now which everyone is using. Yeah. And as long as we don't have real digital twins of each fabric, which means to work with in the product management, in the product design, yeah, it will be difficult. It's just as long as we have just presentations and some facts and figures about the fabrics, this is not really usable to work with for the product management. This is my point of view, and which means all these meetings and presentations which we are now learning to have. Also, Tricia, congratulations for organizing this roundtable. I think it would be very difficult to gather this group physically at one table. Yeah, but the inhibition threshold is probably also much lower digitally than might be in the real world. Yeah. So the digital way for fabrics is very, very difficult. And we, as Munich Fabricstadt, don't believe in real platforms for fabrics at this point of time. Yeah, as long as we really have complete figures and data files about the fabrics, this is something different. But a picture is not enough to sell fabrics online. This is my point of view.
Yes, I feel that way too, especially because one of the key benefits of Tencel is certainly the softness, and that's something you have to feel, you know? So this is the challenge that I have.
Online, you can be replaced with polyester.
Exactly.
Of course, we do all
So,
touch the fabrics all the time. You have to breathe the fabrics. But I had the experience with a very interesting software trying to modelize 3D fabrics. They are coming.
They're coming.
They're coming.
And this will change the industry.
Totally. They're not far away.
yes, we'll see how all those changes are. And Sebastian, you had mentioned this about the fall calendar. I mean, my fall calendar was going to be Munich and Paris in September. October was going to be Amsterdam, and November, Berlin. So do we really need all these trade shows? And, you know, can brands, how do they have to look at this in order to consolidate? I mean, we're going to be looking at budget cuts for travel, certainly after this. And is there a possibility for calendar coordination among the shows? And you're all sitting here. So we'll kick this off with Musaf. What are your thoughts around, you know, the calendar and any kind of changes that will happen?
I will say like that, we all who are involved in the trade show, we are involved in the trade show because we want to do something good for the industry and good for the trade, not for ourselves. So we always think of the industry, we always think of the buyers and sellers or whatever it is. And for them also today, we all are here together in the same scheme. And everybody's under one platform this year. So when we all came forward, and we obviously also can find some ways, and we have a vision, we have intention, as we supported earlier also to the industry, and we are also willing to support to the industry future also. Obviously, if there is any need, we can collaborate and cooperate between ourselves, and we can do it. Here all the leaders are here, so leaders are always there for the industry. They are serving quite a long time. They all are doing the same thing. So I think we are willing to, and we are ready to cooperate.
Good to hear. And Sebastian, what are your thoughts? Do we need all of these shows? Is it too much for exhibitors and brands? How can we kind of consolidate the calendar?
Difficult question, Tricia, really. So with regards to the calendar coordination, we as Munich Fabricstadt always have the go-to schedule the calendar without any overlaps. That's for sure, yeah. But we try to inform and exchange with other shows and organizers to offer the industry a schedule that is realistic for all peer groups in the textile industry. Yes, but do we really need 3 shows in these times, in 3 months? How to say? I think yes, but we are very close together in the way of where it takes place. Yeah. We are speaking about Europe, 3 shows, and what I said at the very first beginning, 600 miles away. People will think about which show they will exhibit, for which show they invest their money and the marketing budgets. Yes, and what we all said, I think the bottom line is that the budget will change and the costs will be cut down. Yeah, so trade shows are a massive cost factor. This is why we try to keep it as low as possible and as professional and efficient. So for me, as a business platform, it is still worth a part of their marketing budget. But I cannot foresee if 3 shows should be happening in the future per season in Europe, in this region.
Yes, for one market, it's very tight to have this. And Guillermo, what are your thoughts on the calendar, and is there any way of coordination? Sometimes it seems that shows are at the same time as national holidays, because I feel that we have to look at the denim industry from the global perspective. It's always hard, and going forward, I don't think it's going to get any better. What do you think can be done, and do we really need all these shows?
I would say that first, to repeat it, the essence of to serve the market, on the upstream and downstream point of view. I mean, we are connecting people all together is our major mission. We are facilitating, we are optimizing the time of visit. Let's say that if we have to be extremely careful about the calendar, we do experience these days a change, and I'm pretty sure that also related to the market, the fashion calendar is going to change. There is we are talking about the consciousness of saying that we were even pushing too much the calendar of the collectioning. So what we can see is that up to now the three shows could have coexist up to now. For sure, there will be an impact of from the crisis. The budget will be cut from the exhibitors, also for the visitors that they can travel or not. I'm not sure. Perhaps in the future that all these many shows will be needed in the market for sure. I'm globally persuaded, like in every industry, the coming years will see concentration. There will be perhaps some acquisition, some merger, and there are the usual rules of the market. The stronger will be becoming the stronger, and what were weakness during the crisis period will become weaker, or they will disappear. We have to be very careful to be always in line with what the market needs and to serve the calendar of the market. That's for me the key essence of our trade show.
For sure, and you bring up a good point, because now more of the brands, and Gucci made this announcement this week of going seasonless. So what does that mean for trade shows? It used to just be based on that calendar, and designers had to go because they were working on one season. But now, what does that mean?
It means is if you go seasonless, we're going to have the same merchandise every day, and I think it's not worth going to the store.
Well, that's another part. I mean, because if you don't have fashion, what's inspiring? Yeah, what's inspiring the consumer to buy?
But I will say that the calendar of collection already changed. We were stuck on what we call in the past the main collection, where almost showcased in February, March, and in September, October. But at the end of the day, these 2 moments of the year become just a moment of communication. The real business today, brands are making collection. With cruise, with brief, where they are adding communication and where they should.
Right.
So it's going to move fast.
And Olaf, what do you think about the calendar?
As mentioned by Sebastian, it's a very, very critical question. We see also based on Corona now, the fashion shows change, the date of fashion show change. Now the fabric supplier said, okay, perhaps we need also another date for our shows. But independently from Corona, I would say every trade show has its own profile, and we always say to our customers first, you should ask or you should ask the question on which market you are focusing, and maybe you will be at the show to get orders for brand building, for image, for innovation, present your innovations, also the size of the show. And based on this, it's much more easier to say to which show you're going, independently at which location the show is. But the size are different and the market are different. And then it's not so important that you as a customer, as exhibitor, as a fabric supplier participate in each show. You mainly should focus on the main important reason to be part of the show. So we are in close contact with our customer exactly to find out what is the reason to be there. But regarding the calendar, I think in the trade fair business, you always have the discussion which is the right date, and mainly now also because of Corona and new possibilities to be part of the show.
Right. And Andrew, for you, how does the calendar look? And I know you've also had to move shows around because they conflicted and it's the same exhibitors. What is your take on that?
Well, I think the exhibitors are the ones that we serve. So, and of course, the customers that come, hopefully, they're in touch with their exhibitors, and they all have the same idea. I mean, you're an exhibitor, for example, and so we communicate about what dates are good or what dates are not good. I think the competition between the shows is unfortunate, but I don't know what the solution is unless we all do it in the same city at the same time. But short of that, I don't know how we could coordinate, even if we want to. So I think it's kind of like a shopping mall, and the customer is going to decide which store they want to go in.
Yeah, for sure. And during this time, retailers have been seeing, double-digit and even triple-digit increase in online sales. How do you think this is impacting with the consumer? And do you think you need to bring maybe even a more direct-to-consumer element into your trade shows as a way of where we're going to go in the future? Sebastian, what do you feel about that?
We believe the increase of all the online sales is a current consequence of the lockdown that arises from country to country, of course. This lockdown has definitely led to a shift of more online shopping away from stationary shopping, for sure, but especially convinced new customers to do online shopping, the elder people, for example. But if you ask me if I would open our professional trade shows for the public, no, never. Why? I don't see any reason for this. Definitely, there might be some ideas or some concepts after such a trade show. What Kingpins is running perfectly with Denim Days, But this is not our core. This is an add-on. But I wouldn't say that these shows should be open for public. And what does it bring at the end? I can remember many years ago, Karl-Heinz Müller had the idea to open Bread and Butter for the public on day 4 or 5. I don't have it in mind really how it was, but it's difficult for the exhibitors. And I see for the fabric or denim side, I wouldn't see that it's from interest for the public. No, our shows will not open to public. This is what I can say right now.
Okay, great. And then Andrew, I mean, you have done this with Denim Days and participation of bringing that education and interest around denim to the consumer. What are your thoughts around where that goes in the future?
We'd like to unlock that. So trying in China. We've done all sorts of experiments, and as you know, we like to fail. We don't have any problem to fail. So we're going to keep doing it, and we believe that there's an integration between what I call B2C and B2G, which is geeks. So I think that your show should be open to anyone that loves denim, and we have to figure out as a show how to make it attractive for them and how the exhibitors can enjoy a benefit from that.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting as an exhibitor at Denim Days, it was also adjusting the communication. And yeah, I mean, I think sometimes we nailed it, and other times we realized we needed to adapt it. So
we know there's a possibility. We just don't know how to do it yet.
Right. And Mustavis, what are your thoughts around bringing in more the consumer side?
I think this is different things. I mean, selling online and consumer, it have nothing to do with our exhibitions, because our exhibitions is a part of the industry and part of the business, and I think business cannot even think without that. Say, for example, I as a manufacturer, I cannot think without the trade shows and without keep on happening these things. And And as I said, I don't think so that online and all these things have any impact in our trade shows, and it must be continued the way it is happening now.
Right. Guillermo, for you?
From my point of view, it's a fascinating option, but it's very difficult to implement, I would say. It's really far away from the essence of organizing a professional show. I would say we all use the word. So what we are saying is that this connection is to optimize the time, is there to be efficient, is to create business. It may happen that in other sectors, other fields like food, for instance, you may have some B2B show and at the same time some outside events where the consumer is involved too. But I don't see up to now. I mean, for all the Premier Vision show, and I think also for my colleagues, the real interest to bring a direct consumer. I mean, I have no message to sell to them, honestly speaking. I have no added value to bring to them.
Right, right. So now that we're looking at a lot of changes in the next 6 months for trade shows, and you know, pretty much it's expected in 2021 we'll have also this kind of interim time. As we look in the future and going into 2022, what do you expect of your trade shows, and even how will you incorporate perhaps more ways of lowering your environmental impact? What do you see as some of the changes? Andrew?
Well, I guess the changes that we're looking at, of course, is on the sustainable front. So our job as a show is to physically be more sustainable and to record it and to report on it, which we've yet to start. We're going to implement more and more standards for our exhibitors. And we already started with social compliance, and we're going to add environmental requirements. And we're going to try to make an impact on our industry on the environmental front from continually.
Right. Guillermo, at PV?
From PV point of view, sustainability is already part of major criteria to be part of our show. We are still communicating, still work on it through the smart creation. Regarding 2022, in my opinion, besides sustainability, also in the future, we are going to talk about more ethics as well. So the way we are going to do business, that it could be part of sustainability, but in my opinion, if there is something that is coming out strongly from this crisis is ethics, accompanied by other things like solidarity, like human contact. We mentioned before that we were all happy to talk to our friends during these past 3 months through Zoom or any other platform. But the first thing we did after the lockdown was to go out. So I think that, yes, trade show will be there. Yes, perhaps the market will be more focused on ethics.
Great. And Olaf, I was with Detlef and some of your other colleagues when you were at the United Nations with your collaboration. What do you see for the future?
Yeah, in totally, we are very global player, and totally we don't see any serious consequences to our international trade shows. Of course, the size might be different at the beginning, but also in our discussion, we learned a lot that people would like to meet each other again at any place in the world to have physical fabric and to see the people, to have the networking. Of course, the sustainability, it's a very important issue at our show, and perhaps also based on the crisis, people remind on major values, on solidarity between producers, companies, and also retailer business. I hope so. But our aim is also to support this with the industry together, with exhibitor visitors, but also with associations. And with the UN, we have the cooperation for Sustainable Development Goals, and our target is to penetrate this on our exhibitions.
Great. Mustavis, for you?
Yeah, for us, as Andrew said, the same thing, working on the social sustainability and environmental sustainability, and we'll be focusing on those parts together only. That's our vision.
Great. Great. And Sebastian, we'll close with you.
Oh, thank you. I think sustainability for all of us is the new normal for everyone, but also for the trade show and for the exhibitors. But unfortunately, I fear that the worldwide recession is an obstacle to sustainable consumption. Yeah. We are actually losing billions of purchasing power for possible better consumption. And this is my biggest concern right now. So we have to afford it, and people have to afford it. This might be a difficult scenario in the future.
Great, thank you. As the industry evolves, it is interesting to note the traditional trade show format and information exchange capabilities will also be adapting and evolving. Upgrading digitally looks to be the minimum that the industry adopts, but at the same time, it has to be balanced with a human basic need for socialization, and an experience that appeals to all the senses will continue to be critical in the future. I want to thank everyone for joining me today. It's been wonderful to see everyone discuss some of the challenges of the denim trade shows together. And most of all, I do look forward to seeing you, and hopefully it will be by the end of this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tricia.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. I hope everybody stays safe.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Great to
All the
see
best.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.